Hello, this is Katie with Homeschool Chat, and today we're going to talk about preschool. Let's talk about the age. The age is from 2 to 4 years old, and the attention span for a 2 to 4-year-old is 2 to 3 minutes times the child's age. So, for a 2-year-old, you should start with an attention span activity that would be 2 being the age of the child times 2, which would equal 4 minutes. So, try that to begin with, and as your child ages and also as your child develops their attention span, then you will be able to do activities for a longer period of time. So let's talk about preschool. You've heard the saying that everything I ever needed to know I learned in kindergarten. That's especially true of preschool, because preschool is very social, and preschoolers learn what is socially acceptable and what is socially unacceptable. And their world is about play. When they come into a preschool setting, they learn best by playing. So if you can do activities that enhance what you want children to do, for instance, you do social activities where the child says please and thank you, uses manners. That's all developed during the preschool years, as well as preparing your child for kindergarten. One of the things that's really important about a preschooler is that you don't isolate the preschooler, because it's great that a preschooler can be with adults, let's say the mom and the dad. That's great. But when they get into a social situation where there's another child that's their age, they need to be able to know what to do. And they have to work through, in preschool, they have to work through social problems, basically. Things like, I want to play with that ball. Well, I want to play with that ball. And then you have to teach those children to compromise and to find solutions. Why maybe those two children can play with the ball together. That's what preschool offers. So you can teach preschool at home with just one child, but make sure that your child does something social, whether it be a tumbling class or church Sunday school or VBS, anything that goes with your lifestyle, because we are talking about homeschooling. Developmentally, art is super important. So one of the things that's really fun for a preschooler is puppetry. Puppet shows, having a puppet, talking through a puppet. Your preschooler can put on puppet shows. You can do a lesson using a puppet. Preschoolers love that, and that is an artsy way of expressing yourself, expressing themselves, and it's also play. So think about that. Also, I kind of wanted this to be a little bit of a show and tell, so I brought some things. These kinds of books that are kindergarten prep type of things are wonderful things to read with your child. This is a book of shapes, and you can take things out of the book and see that there are more of the same shape inside, underneath. So these things, when you go to shop for these, Try to shop for things that would interest you, because if it would interest you, it will probably interest your child. And take your child to the bookstore, because your child will definitely have things that he or she likes or doesn't like. And you wouldn't know that unless that child were there to tell you what their opinion is. One of the other things that's really good in preschool are singing games or singing songs. This is a book, and the title of it is Buckle My Shoe, which that is kind of a sing-songy story. So you can tell the story to your child and help your child to count, and they won't really realize that they're learning. And that's really, I think, the point of preschool. You put your child in a learning situation, and it's fun, so they don't really realize that they're learning. And you want your child to love to learn, so you don't really want to force them to do anything. You could introduce it to them and keep introducing it to them. For instance, let's say you have a preschool child that likes to that you want to color, but your preschool child doesn't color. You can put a coloring page in front of that child and a crayon and do it with that child, color the picture with that child. But if the child doesn't engage or just does like one little scribble, then that should make you happy. But you can introduce that coloring as an activity again and again, and eventually your child will color. But don't make it into something like a negative experience. Anyway, that's that book, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. One of the other things that's a great fun to purchase, and you can get them at the bookstores or Walmart or online, are these little books that they're like a magnet doodle on them, or books that have activities kind of attached to them. So this is, learn how to write a G. I guess my magnet doodle skills aren't very good. But anyway, you get the point. And preschool kids love to do things by themselves, some of them. Some of them like to do things with people. And it's your job to make it so that that child can do either by themselves or with somebody. The other thing that you can do is you can create things. In this instance, this preschooler created a book, and of course the teacher helped. So preschooler colored the pictures, and one of the other skills that you need to learn that's part of kindergarten prep is being able to cut things out of paper. So there was a sheet with these little bunnies on it that the student cut out and then pasted on part of the storyline. So they're helping to build the book. And of course, there's a whole story to this, but in each one of these pages, there's a cutout that the student was able to put into the book and glue into the book. So that's a kindergarten prep thing. And also it helps to develop dexterity. So this is another example of something that you can do. If you're very artistic as a homeschool parent, you can create these things on your own. If not, I'm sure that you could probably find some of these things online. And also, sometimes you can go into a bookstore if you like that kind of thing and find something at the bookstore that does this very thing. The last thing that I want to do is I want to encourage you to buy interactive toys like this. This company is called Mindware, and I love it so much. And this is the early learning section of their catalog. And of course, you can get to them online. But this is an interactive owl, and it is a learning to tell time. Also, there's cash registers. Kids love, especially preschoolers, they love to do things that adults do. So, like pretending to be a mailman, or vacuuming because one of their parents vacuums, or mopping because one of their parents mops, or cooking because one of their parents cooks, or grandma cooks. Anyway, this is a cash register, and it kind of helps because there you can use it to help them to learn how to count and how to differentiate between uh, dollar bills and change. And as they get older, they can still use this in math class. Well, that's about all I have for today. Please have a blessed evening. Goodbye.